everyone. This is Adriana, joined here with Caitlin again for our Heart to Heart Astrology podcast, coming to you from the UK and the US. We are Granddaughter and Grandmother, and we join together to share our perspectives on the astrology that is occurring in our lives. And in this video, we have some exciting astrology happenings with Uranus in Gemini. It is making a beautiful conjunction to the Pleiades. We're going to be talking about some of that Pleiadian energy, as well as supergalactic center and Aquila constellation. And we are going to share some readings. We have some card readings that we are going to be sharing, as well as some general horoscopes. So a nice gift to you all for this energy that's happening with Uranus and Gemini. It's going to be with us for the next 8 years. So this is going to be a long-term commitment. If you are new here, welcome. I am Adriana. I've been an intuitive tarot reader for the past 5 years now, and I'm also a galactic astrologer and specializing in past life readings, going into your soul records from Earth past lives to other realms beyond Earth as well. And Caitlin, do you want to share a brief intro for our newbies?
Hey everyone, hope everyone's doing well. We've had lots of shifts and changes happening, and we're all feeling it, I'm sure, from all different directions, from solar flares to every kind of thing going on. And with all, especially Saturn and Aries, and now Jupiter in Cancer. And then here we are with Uranus going into Gemini. So it's very intense times right now. And anyway, so I've been involved in metaphysics my whole life. I love doing all of this, from Reiki to astrology, yoga, Tai Chi. We were involved in all kinds of things. So Galactic Astrology, been certified have we been certified for over a year now? Somewhere around there.
Yeah,
So,
actually, I think we're near our, actually over a year.
okay,
Yeah,
so
we've gone over.
love Julia, and I love her course. And Adriana always
Yes.
has it in the box below if you would like to take the course. And of course, we do offer readings and reports. I'm pretty backed up right now. I've got quite a few people, so but please contact Adriana. I'm probably backed up through July right now with doing reports and readings. So
Oh, that's good. Yeah. I
yeah.
still have some space left for the rest of this month in June. We both do the Galactic Astrology reports, but we also do transit reports. So if you want to know what's going to be currently happening for you, I just did a couple summer readings, so we can do things like that. So definitely if you want to know what's currently going on for you,
Go
right?
ahead. Are you
So
going to share about what Uranus and Gemini is all about so we understand it?
So Uranus is going to be moving into Gemini. This is happening July 7th, 2025, and it will last till May 23rd, 2033. So that's 8 years. But there will be a retrograde, of course. There will be a retrograde this November, November 7th, 2025. It'll go back into Taurus. So a retrograde is like an optical illusion where it looks like it's gone back into that planet or that sign, I mean, and it brings in that energy and can change up the effects a little bit with Taurus. So Taurus is the earth sign, so might be a bit more earthy and grounded at that time and more practical. That retrograde is going to last from November to April 25th, 2026. Then it goes back into Gemini. So what can we expect with this? Again, this is bringing in this sense of new ideas. Uranus is a very revolutionary type of planet. It brings in change. The ruling sign would be Aquarius. So I would say Aquariuses are going to be feeling this one. And Geminis. Aquarius and Geminis definitely are going to be feeling the effects of this transit. And not necessarily in a bad way, but it's going to be pushing for more change and our self-expression and our sense of freedom, both on an individual and collective level, I would say. We are aligning to, it's making this conjunction to the beautiful Pleiades star cluster. So Pleiades brings in energies of healing, music, arts, any sort of creative expression. This is going to be played out through revolutionary change and new ideas with Gemini. So lots of thinking and yeah, that expressive energy. Anything you want to add with that too, Caitlin?
Well, yeah, they're definitely key players right now. The Pleiades with conjuncts with Electra, Maya, Alcyone, Taygeta, Pleione, and they're all very tight orbs. And so, if they want to learn more about it, we have a prior video called The Priestesses of Pleiades, which you could learn all about their background, and especially with Electra. I went into a story, and I think if you're very interested in the Pleiades, that would be the video to check out.
Okay, so this is going to be for the UK, so it's the London, England chart here. So it might be slightly different depending where you live. Um, but Caitlin, you checked too, and I believe there was a grand air trine still for the United States. Is that right? It was still there
I did
for you.
not see it. I'd have to, I didn't look at my wheel. So,
Oh, okay, that's all right. You had those aspects though to Galactic Center, which you'll be talking about soon, um, and Pleiades, of course, here with Uranus and Gemini. So there it is. It's making this equilateral triangle, which is called a grand air trine, because it touches on all of these beautiful air signs. So Pluto is in Aquarius, so that is the first connection that this is making. We talked if this was a few videos back about Pluto in Altair with Aquarius. So this is a very long-term commitment here with Pluto, bringing in those ideas and beautiful energies of seeking out freedom. A sense of freedom comes through with Altair. So if you have connection too with Altair, you may find that you're a freedom seeker too in your own personal chart. So that pairs up very nicely with Uranus, bringing in that sense of seeking out change and freedom, releasing any constrictions. And Pluto brings in that change as well, that transformative energy. And then it makes this next connection over here with the rising sign in beautiful, balanced Libra, conjunct supergalactic center. This is a beautiful cosmic point of intuitiveness, bringing in a sense of connection to source itself. For some of you, that could even be God, your own higher self, too, getting really in tune with that at this time. So these are all connecting here. And we have beautiful Venus next to Uranus and Gemini when this starts off. So bringing in this Venusian loving energy as well. So that is just something I wanted to point out of this is what it's starting, right from the get-go. Very beautiful energy. So Caitlin, please do share with us more of those energies and aspects that you are seeing too.
okay. So I wanted to just point out some of these connections Adriana was talking about, um, especially with the opposition with the supergalactic center in Saturn and Aries and Neptune and Aries. Sure, but there's the Pleiades standing out with the Uranus and Gemini, and there's all the conjunctions I spoke of earlier. We also have just it's if you just look at these colors, and these are all the outer planets here, Saturn through Pluto, actually. The color scheme that we use in our galactic reports is helpful for me, being a visual
I
learner.
agree.
This is
Hmm.
how I would pick up on this. So let me talk a little bit about this now. I'm going to stop the share on that. The interesting alignments again are with the fixed star Alpha Centauri, and it's trining with Altair and Aladfar. And also our Uranus and Gemini and Pluto and Aquarius are trining the supergalactic center. I also noticed that Chiron in Aries is conjunct Andromeda galaxy. So these were just all little markers that were kind of flashing on the page. Yet it's the supergalactic center's oppositions which stood out the most. And again, with those tight orbs of influence. So what is the supergalactic center? This is from our teacher, Julia Balaz. I just feel she has a wonderful definition here. And this is from our course. And this can just show you how amazing her material is. So the supergalactic center is a cluster of 30 plus galaxies, including our Milky Way galaxy. So it's a super massive black hole. And it's estimated to possess the mass of 3 billion solar masses. 3 billion. Okay. The supergalactic center is a storehouse of energy and is said to be where we connect with the mind of God. While the supergalactic center draws everything nearby toward it, it also sends out some of the most multidimensional consciousness there is in the form of streams of light that can be downloaded through our crown chakras into any soul that is awake enough to receive it. So the giant black hole potentially serves as a hologram of truth, each fractal reflecting something so vast that our human minds must constantly allow themselves to be stretched toward it. The only way to work with the supergalactic center is to keep our frequencies elevated by focusing on source and surrendering to it with an open heart. So that supergalactic center point, if you look at your own chart, look in the early degrees of Libra to find it if it's present. That's where it's going to show up. And that area of our chart has to do with diplomacy, being humble, more compassionate energies, and how we present them and embody them. So, but with these Saturn and Neptune and Aries alignments opposing this supergalactic center, this was telling me that there may be more challenges to stay connected to source. So it's time to use all of your spiritual tools more than ever before as we ride this wave these next few months. And that's why we have these tools. We spent years, many of us, 30 some years or more, have spent time collecting these tools. And we did this because it's going to help us when the proverbial, you know what, hits the fan. Okay, because we're going to go through a beep, 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 hits the fan time. So watch out for getting too stuck in self-identity and self-absorption issues, which may lead you to dash forward without all the details and make rash, even painful decisions for you and all involved. So stay aware of what is for the highest good of all. Also, I feel like I should be a bazillionaire for the amount of times I've shared this with people for all these years, but drink plenty of water. Clean, pure water, electrolyte replacement, get out in nature, do grounding poses of yoga, qigong, tai chi for grounding. I have to do this every morning, and I've had a very difficult time staying grounded. Do centering, breathing exercises. In fact, Nadi Shodanum is called alternate nostril breath. And I wanted to just do a quick little demo of it to help people. So you take your index finger and your middle finger, and you're going to place it on your third eye. You'll use your thumb to close off the right nostril, and then your fourth finger can close off the left nostril. So what you're doing is you're alternating the breath. So let's start with closing off the right with the thumb and take an inhale just through your left nostril. Hold for a second or two. Close off your left and then breathe out your right. Breathe in through the right nostril. Hold, and now breathe out through the left nostril. That's considered one round of Nadi Shodanum. So you're going your lead nostril to the passive nostril, then breathe through the passive, back to the leader, and then that's one round. And I do at least 6 rounds in the morning. And I like to do it at the end of all the other breathing techniques that I'm using. It just
And does that help with grounding?
grounding, centering, balancing. And you're balancing both sides of you. So it's
Right, yeah.
because the
Left and
nadis are connected to the two sides of us. It's if I got into the detail, but there's the Ida Pingala around the Sushumna. That could be a whole nother video.
right.
Maybe we could keep this somewhere in our liner notes or whatever, but it's Nadi Shodanum. And I'm sure you could pick up a nice video going into much more detail.
Thank you for sharing that.
Sure. Just wanted to point that out and share a little bit of like what Julia, I love her definition and explanation of supergalactic center. So it is
Yeah.
source. And if we're
I use that too in my readings. I quote her actually whenever someone has that alignment too.
well, and if we're opposing source, we have to be aware of this. That's really, we're on the opposite side of it. So we
And
have to,
that's Saturn in Aries, right?
mm,
Opposing.
yes,
And
correct.
Aries is all about the self and the
Self-identity,
ego. Yeah.
self-reliance. We have to be very, very careful. Exactly.
Mm.
Good. I'm glad you
Yeah,
got
that
that.
is challenging us. Yeah.
8 years. I don't know if that alignment will stay the same for 8 years. I think we may move around. I'm not sure. 2 degrees, so that's possible. Yeah, so we
Mm.
have to be extremely aware. Yikes.
That's actually a really, I think that connection really parallels with the trine that I was seeing too. But it was more so the harmonious aspect of it, of having that source connection to help balance out the energies. But I'm glad you pointed out that Saturn opposition because that's the challenging point that's coming in to kind
And
of
Neptune. And
test.
Neptune. Yeah,
Mm.
Saturn and Neptune.
And
Absolutely.
Neptune, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, there's
And
time.
Neptune will be retrograde in Aries at the time of this transit too.
Yeah. Let
Mm.
me just bring my screen back for just 1 second. So again, there's the opposition, there's the low degree of Saturn and Neptune, but then we have a trine with Uranus to it, which can be
Hmm.
helpful. Okay, this might be what you've been talking about. We got the
Yeah.
trine Pluto here with supergalactic center.
Hmm.
Okay, so those outer planets have some help coming through with that.
Should I start off with my tarot messages? Is that good
Sure,
to start?
sure.
So this part of our video, this was Caitlin's idea, which I loved this idea, to do the signs. So for earth, air, water, and fire signs, we've decided to kind of give a general reading. After we do these card readings, we will do the horoscopes too. So we just wanted to kind of separate it out like that. So I'm going to be sharing the fire and air sign messages, and I used my classic Rider-Waite tarot deck, just the classic tarot here. And I'll start with fire signs. This was very on point for you, fire signs, with this card coming through. Let me just make this full screen so you can see good. There we go. King of
I see.
Wands for you, fire signs. Aries, Leos, and Sagittarius. This is your general message. Like I said, you could check if this is your sun or rising sign. The wands are all about the fire elemental. So this is very in sync with you guys. This is all about getting into your own creative expression, kind of what I was talking about in the beginning, but also stepping up into your own power, taking back control of your life and being able to speak your truth as well. The wands are about how we vocalize, and that's very much aligned with that Uranus and Gemini energy coming through, standing in your truth, standing in your power here, very creative energy and very self sufficient, independent, learning how to rely on yourself. Now, sometimes you do have to, seek out help from others, right? But you don't want to just rely on the external. This is about this for you. This message is about being able to go within and to rely on yourself and how to get there. So this, it won't be like a quick fix. It's going to be something you'll work through and learn through because this is a long transit, right? But this is a very beautiful message of you coming into your own power here and finding creative self expression as well. So there you go. And then my message for the air signs. So Geminis, Aquarius, and Libras, suns and risings. You have this Six of Swords here. So this is about moving on, moving away from better, moving away from things that no longer serve you onto better things. You see how they have their back turned. What do you have to turn your back on so that you could go out into new horizons, new better things, that are there for you. And that is very much in alignment with this Uranus and Gemini energy. It's bringing in that change. Might be a bit of uncomfortable change for some of you, but necessary change. Gemini can also be about like that travel and movement. For some of you, you might actually literally move and relocate somewhere. And again, it is all going to be for your benefit. So, moving on to bigger, better things for you, air signs. So, like I said, Aquarius and Geminis at the beginning of this video, you guys are probably going to be feeling this transit the most. It might be the most challenging for you guys, but it's going to be a beautiful blessing. And that Pleiades energy is bringing in a healing with this. So, allow this to come in, go with the flow as best as you can. So that was what I had to share from the tarot on the fire and air signs.
Yeah, my cards came in for both earth and water signs. So I have two cards as well, but same messages for each of those elements. So for earth and water, the first card that came in is this um, card for the Pleiades, and it's stubbornness. Of course, oh, I should say I'm utilizing one of my favorites, the Galactic Heritage cards by Lisa Royal Holt, and but an imbalance in positive polarity is definitely what had happened to the Pleiadians. And what ultimately happened in the story, according to Lisa Royal Holt, was that a Pleiadian planet in their system was destroyed by Orion in the wars, galactic wars. And so they tended to be overly positive, too trusting. And I kind of share that again with the Electra story. I don't know if it was Electra that got destroyed. I'm not sure, but it's very possible. And she never says which one it is. And I haven't gotten that message strong enough to know for absolute sure. But I do have awareness of it even through my own family. Which is interesting because my mother, when I was quite young, talked to me about, I had very forward thinking parents, very much so, but had talked to me about having seen a planet that she felt that my dad and I and she were connected to get destroyed. And so, I thought, what is this about? Well, when I met Barbara Hand Clow many, many years later, I shared the story, and she had told me, well, this could be coordinated with what happened with the Pleiades and Orion. So I've had a personal experience of that. Um, but back to this. So the Pleiadians had to really learn to release their fixed ideas of how things should be, that everything needs to be coming up roses, that everything needs to be perfect and happy. And that's a tendency of what Pleiadians can be considered light chasers. And having difficulty aligning with integrating the dark. Okay, that is not unusual with Pleiadian alignments and connections. And I can certainly say that for myself. And so that card, stubbornness, is moving past that, opening to looking at the whole picture. Um, and I should mention too that the Pleiadians very much are connected to the Lyran fourth fathers and foremothers as well. So if you have Pleiades and Lyra in your chart, listen up to this, and you're going to have some kind of earth water in your elements as well. Okay, so then the second card that came in was from another deck I really love. Can't seem to get away from it because I love it so much. Is Star Temple Oracle by Susie Cherub. And this card is called The Mystic. I weave my magic and surrender to the universe. Um, so it's yet again another kind of sign of surrendering, maybe surrendering our stubbornness is a way to look. Earth and water, when you mix it together, it does make mud, and it can get kind of sticky and gluey. But if we surrender to the wisdom of the ultimate master weaver, then maybe we can weave our own magic through learning from creator and then co-create. So I feel focus on surrender is huge. So very much so. Releasing the stubbornness, maybe through forgiveness. Forgiveness always begins with self. Then it cycles to others, and then others forgive us. It's the circle of forgiveness. And then this wonderful mantra came through Enzo, actually, and it's let go. So the magic flows. So we could think of that for both earth and air. I'm sorry, water signs. And that's it.
Before actually we begin our horoscopes, just want to say thank you if you've made it this far to this video. Please don't forget to like this video. It might sound repetitive, but it actually does help us smaller YouTube channels, us small astrologers to help with the algorithm, and would really appreciate, of course, the support. And feel free to comment your timestamp if you'd like for your zodiac sign so others can see it. I try to do timestamps as best as I can, but if you want to plug in your timestamp for your sign, that could be helpful for others who are looking too. So again, check your sun and rising sign for these. Okay, Aries, suns and risings. Uranus in Gemini is going to be affecting your third house. So thoughts, thinking, communication, all that type of stuff, travel, is going to be heavily affected during this transit for the next 8 years. So be careful, Aries, to not get too caught up in your heads. Don't overthink as best as you can. The positive side, though, is that this can be very great for creating new ideas, especially any sense of creativity. The fire signs had that King of Wands tarot card that I showed earlier. So that very much aligns with that creative self-expression. This could also involve you wanting to be involved with your community, actually. So perhaps supporting your local, farms, your local shops. So getting out into the community more and having more of that type of support. So very good for that type of energy, community involvement too, and perhaps, wanting to be part of your community and seeing more positive change play out with your community as Uranus brings those types of energies. Even if you are not creating it, but participating in it as well. So lots of things with that. It could even be some travel involved for you as well, Aries. Pleiades brings that nice healing energy as well. So I do think that those of you who are very intuitive too, may feel that heightened. Oh, oh gosh, I just bounced down. Okay, we'll give it away to Caitlin now.
Taurus, suns, moons, and risings. Uranus and Gemini will be impacting your second house of what you value and may cause some concerns with fluctuating finances. So think about creating a budget with conscious awareness. This may be the ticket to avoid any imbalances here. So also you may notice a shift in how you are relating to your own values, your inner resources, and even your self-esteem. And this may show some real possibilities for internal growth and spiritual evolution. And that is one thing Pleiadians love. When we have that star family running Uranus and Gemini here, they definitely like that type of growth. Unpredictable energies happening during this time because of Uranus and because of Gemini. So you might consider the benefits of to stop resisting change, because that's hard for Taurus. Stop resisting change and seek new experiences. And this could even be regarding technology, communications, and even intellectual pursuits. So this transit can kind of be very transformative for you from the inside out. It will be very important to institute grounding practices in every area of your life because Uranus in Gemini is going to kick up tons of distractions. I think it's already happening, to be honest. So on the positive side, Adaptability and intellectual curiosity will be very high during this time. So, and you may be able to get a renewed focus at some point on maybe new things. Okay, so, but don't let your Venus feel left out of the equation because Mercury is going to be huge during this time. Everything is going to be about Mercury. And Venus kind of goes into the background a little bit if we allow it. So stay in touch with your heart energies. This is so important. Don't be all in your head. Get into the heart. Remember your partners in your life. And we can have partners in so many areas, not just your special loved one, your spouse or your kids or whatever, but just you're partnering with somebody. You go to the grocery store and you're in the line and you're talking together as you're checking out. I mean, that's a form of a partnership on some level. So let your heart lead with that. But maybe some extra love and attention to your special partners in your life, because maybe they can feel you too in your head and moving away, which is not the norm for Taurus usually. So, really, you have an opportunity for a total makeover. And aren't you worth it? Time to realize you and yourself, that you as yourself, are your best commodity. And that's it for them.
Okay, so Gemini, suns, and rising signs. Uranus in Gemini is affecting you. Like you exactly. Your first house is being affected. So this is all about you, Geminis. This is more of a focus now for you to take care of yourself. I keep saying you, but it's it's true. It's like especially those who have been taking care of others and doing maybe too much of that. I mean, it's always nice to do that, of course, but it feels a bit like an imbalance. So it is time to take care of you, Geminis. This is a great time for self-development, for you to work on things to improve yourself here, encouraging self-improvement this energy brings. And with the Pleiades too, it's a very healing energy. So, time to nurture yourself. Do things that bring you some sense of healing. You may also have new perspectives that come into play that you never even thought of that might kind of change the way you think about things or the way you even see yourself. And it's all about you growing into this better and this best version of yourself, I should say. So really a good time for you to nurture yourself and take good care of yourselves, Geminis. So listen in, have an open mind too of new perspectives that come in. You might find, I mean, especially after 8 years, a lot can change in a person, right? After 8 years. So you might see that at the end of this big cycle that you've changed a lot. Like you'll still be who you are, but you've gone through a lot of change and to becoming a more healed, better version of yourself.
Cancer, suns, moons, and risings. Okay, wow. Uranus and Gemini will be hanging out in your 12th house of what you transmute through dreams, introspection, and retreating inward, which could manifest as more time for focus on meditation, spiritual growth, or even therapy. So your intuition may be on steroids during this time. So it's time to learn how to trust in the divine guidance. Be open to discernment. Talked a lot about discernment in the last couple videos. And my guide's definition is, which is the ability to know something or understand something through the power of spirit. So it's important, Cancer sisters and brothers, to call on this power of discernment before you dive into the unconventional. And also watching out for any addictive tendencies during this long transit. So check in often with your truth meter. Does this align with my values? Ask yourself these questions. Because of the 12th house influence, expect the unexpected. Time to utilize your ability to adapt to change as relationships may be tested during this transit. Does this relationship support my true purpose? Is this relationship genuine? Does this relationship support my desires and dreams? of flowing into deeper spiritual exploration? So, Cancers, will you free yourself enough from the overprotective feelings to come out of your shell and shoot for the stars, discovering your cosmic self? Uranus in Gemini says there are no limitations in the province of your mind. And that's it.
There we go for our Cancer risings. That's us there. Always getting hit with something. Okay, so we got Leo's suns and risings. This is affecting your 11th house. This is all about networking, getting involved with groups, Leos, which I think most Leos are pretty good at doing. So you may be sharing your perspectives, perhaps even with more so humanitarian topics, as Uranus and Gemini can definitely bring those ideas into play. This could also be a really beautiful time for studying and learning, especially new things, or even going back to old things perhaps that you want to brush back up on or learn even more in depth. Some of you may also be planning to do some traveling with friends and also having this broadening perspective. So it might be like literally traveling, to experience new countries, places, things, people. Or for some of you, it might be more so the intellectual side of that, and talking with amongst other people. It does feel very heavily involved with other people, groups, and getting new perspectives and having you're being pushed and encouraged to have more open discussion and talking about different perspectives to broaden your own perspectives and broaden your horizons at this time. So yeah, Leos, you're going to be kind of getting more involved with groups and work, your social life, and things of that nature. Okay.
Virgo suns, moons, and risings, all of the mutable signs of Gemini, Sagittarius, Pisces, and you, Virgo, will feel this shift of Uranus into Gemini more intensely than the other cardinal and fixed signs. So your 10th house of how I connect with career aspirations and goals will be most affected during this transit. So sudden opportunities could arise, taking you to unexpected directions, especially in your career, if you are able to free yourself from old comfortable patterns. So Virgo family, this transit may challenge your neediness for organization, order, and detail. And notice I put neediness. Doesn't mean it's bad to be organized, ordered, or detailed, but it's the neediness around it that's not good. So letting go of that. And I've kind of brought this analogy up many times in our videos of stop being the mouse, way too caught up in the little few crumbs on the floor, and then unable to see the eagle flying overhead. Virgo, it's time to become the eagle, seeing the bigger picture, and then utilize your razor sharp focus. Getting into this new, broader perspective may help you open to new ideas, exploring different perspectives, challenging established norms, potentially leading to breakthroughs and unexpected solutions. So Uranus and Gemini is going to shake up patterns of structure affecting how we communicate, even think. Maybe we'll tap into the other 95% of our brain. So that would be amazing. So ask yourself these questions. Am I afraid to stand out and take the lead? Am I able to embrace more unconventional perspectives, especially regarding my career? And am I afraid of ruining my reputation if I show the world who I truly am? So Virgos, realize this. You have real opportunities on the horizon to grow into your greatest potentials during this Uranus and Gemini transit. And that's due to that 10th house opportunity for sure.
Okay, so Libra suns and risings. This transit is going to be affecting your ninth house. So this is the house of intellect. So some of you Libras are going to be studying away, learning new things. Some may even be doing things that are very tech savvy and computer oriented. Or actually, now my Libra friend comes to mind, doing some programming and things of that nature. So that could be for some of you. But for most of you, it will be involved heavily in studying and learning new things at this time, expressing new perspectives and ideas too, amongst others. And some of you might even be creating change, even in small ways, as your mind expands and gains knowledge, Libras. So even on a small level, you might be doing that in some way. So it might not feel significant, but it may, I mean, this is a long transit. So, 8 years here. Some of you might bring about some new ideas that gets passed along and new perspectives that kind of shift in our collective. So a really good time for those of you who are in school, studying, or wanting to learn new things, Libras.
Scorpio suns, moons, and risings. Change is on the horizon for you, Scorpio. Your transit through Uranus and Gemini lands you in your eighth house home. That's your traditional home of what I transform. So be ready to dive deep into what is new in your life. There may be financial opportunities arising during this transit, especially with your partner's income or inheritance. Take care, as you know, the eighth house is where karma lives. So be sure to look deeply into investment opportunities before you dive in. The opportunity is here for a total life makeover if you choose, a death to old patterns and a rebirth into something completely different. You may choose to explore metaphysics, learning more about your spiritual self. You may explore a new understanding of intimacy, attracting a new partner, may be different than your usual type. Uranus is about freedom and individuality, and this transit can encourage Scorpios to embrace their authentic selves and explore new paths. You may be more inclined to seek out experiences that challenge your beliefs, broadening your horizons and lead to more open and honest relationships with others. So not so secretive, Scorpio. You have a reputation for that. Uranus and Gemini may bring a more playful side to Scorpio's approach to life, leading again to embrace more unconventional ideas and maybe other ways of doing things, not so stuck in certain ways. So personal breakthroughs can manifest, reinvention of yourself, step outside of comfort zones. These are all possibilities. And I'd consider asking yourself this question of like, am I willing to step out of my comfort zone? Am I willing to accept something completely different in my life so I can grow and transform? So I end with that question, Scorpio. What will you transform?
I love that for Scorpios. I feel like Scorpios are always going through something deep and transformative.
It's
Very
when
nice.
we pick our mothers and fathers and what the day we're going to be born. Scorpios are very brave and courageous souls. That's all I got to say.
Yeah. Okay, so Sagittarius, Sagittarius suns and rising signs. This Uranus and Gemini transit is affecting your seventh house. The seventh house deals with marriages and commitments. So that is what's being affected here. That's what Uranus is kind of shaking up here. Mostly in a good way, though, so don't be worried. Those of you who are in committed relationships or planning to get married or are married, you might experience some communication healing because Pleiades, remember, is making a conjunction with Uranus. And Pleiades brings a very healing, beautiful energy. So if there has been any sort of communication issues, and even if there weren't issues, maybe if it was just small things, you might start to feel a breakthrough during this transit over the next few years here, 8 years this transit is. So of developing better communicating styles here between you and your partner. And for those of you even who are planning to get married, some of you might have a more unconventional type of relationship or wedding, even as Uranus brings in that unconventional energy. So, for example, some of you might even elope or go somewhere else that's not like a traditional type of wedding. Or some of you might not even want to do a wedding and you might just, have a partnership and have a elopement and then a honeymoon away somewhere. So this is a time where that can happen for some of you. So yeah, kind of exploring the different side of things and having fun and that kind of freeing energy. So having fun with it. So those of you who aren't in a relationship, so don't want to leave you guys out, this can bring in unconventional relationships to you, actually. Even if they aren't romantic, it could be even just, friendships, close friendships that come out of the blue, come out of nowhere, unexpected even. And then this is also a time for revolutionary changes or new ideas to what you are committed to, whether that be work or projects that you're doing. So you might have some sort of breakthrough or new idea that comes out of the woodwork that you just didn't expect to, come through, and you can change things up a little bit. So don't be afraid of change, I would say, Sagittarius. Don't be afraid to shake things up a little bit and have fun with this energy. With anything you have committed to, you might feel like a bit guarded in how you want things to be done and whatever you're committed to or with the relationship, but things might, take you on a little bit of a roller coaster, but have fun with it. So expect, the unexpected, but all feels very positive though, very healing as well.
You're very right on because we have a Sagittarius family member that I'm very unconventional minister will be performing her wedding ceremony.
Yes,
So
that's
you're
right.
right on. You are right on. Capricorn, suns, moons, and risings. Okay, Capricorns, get our listening ears on, Adri. This is us.
Here we go.
Ready for the big flight into a more futuristic world? Feeling
Oh
less
boy.
grounded and sure of yourself? Well, Uranus and Gemini is leading us into the unknown, and you will ride out this transit through your sixth house of how I work, which is through routines, tasks, services, and well-being. So Capricorn, it is time to courageously step into the unknown with all of the other signs. Every sign has to step into the unknown. But how will you choose to ride out this time? Are you going to resist or cooperate? If you choose to cooperate, you will ride out this cosmic dance very well. Your drive for success in all you do will certainly pay off through exploring new and advanced ways to improve your work life, develop new skills, and explore new ways to provide services for others through your career. Uranus and Gemini, and again, as Aja keeps saying, this is an 8-year cycle, may inspire Capricorns to change up their routines and adopt new ideas, which may lead to larger shifts in their lives. This could involve reevaluating daily habits, especially regarding your health and your well-being. So, for example, instead of jumping on the computer and diving into work the first thing in the morning, what about stretching with some yoga, qigong, tai chi, or even lifting weights? Welcoming change can be as simple as this. There's a wonderful feng shui technique, and there's a book called Move Your Stuff, Change Your Life. And you can, by changing the order of routine in your life, you could really change your whole life. Just as you might move one table from one room to another and change the flow of energy through your house. Well, changing the routine, like maybe exercising first, focusing on some self-care can benefit your health, for example. Okay, so not always jumping into work and provide for others constantly as a first choice. Okay, and then this transit could also bring a period of significant change and transformation in regarding creativity and even romantic pursuits. So every sign is being asked to step outside of their comfort zone. And you, Capricorn, have an opportunity to maybe even embrace new hobbies, innovative ideas. Romantic connections may lead to enhancing your work and personal life too. So, in essence, there'll be a focus for all signs, not just Capricorn, but on technology, innovative pursuits. But obviously, Capricorns love to, bring it into our interests with career paths. Okay, that's very common. So
Yeah.
ask yourself these questions. Am I willing to serve and grow in new ways, which will enhance my life and others' lives too? And am I open to inviting more fun into my life? And that's the influence of Gemini. Gemini loves to have fun, be playful. So Capricorn, is up to you on how you will design your path forward with Uranus and Gemini, again, for the next 8 years.
You're very spot on, first of all, with that, because I've already started to do a new workout routine, which I'll tell you about later, which is very unconventional. And I also just want to say to us Capricorns out there, not every hobby that we do has to be a new career or a new business. Just have fun. Those
So
of
true.
us who are like that.
Yes.
Yes, so Aquarius now, Aquarius suns and risings. I might feel this too because I have an Aquarius stellium, so I have that too. So Uranus is definitely going to be heavily influence you guys with this transit because Uranus is your ruling planet. And it's all about the unconventional, the out of the ordinary, freedom loving, all that fun stuff that Aquarius loves. So this brings a very creative flair for you because it's affecting your fifth house. This brings in a nice sense of creative self-expression, new ideas. There's also a message here on inner child healing, Aquarius. So those of you who may feel that called at this time, you may need to do some more work on your inner child healing. And that could involve getting into those creative activities, making time to paint pictures or do photography even. Doing music, anything of that nature might actually get you back in touch with your inner child. I would even say playing sports too and playing games. That goes into creativity as well, video games even. Going back to your inner child healing and do things that make life fun for you. So there's definitely a message here for making time for play, Aquarius. So especially if you have been working very hard and it's just been all serious and rigid, got that Saturn in Aries now that's just shifted. So you might be wanting to have a little break from that, that type of energy and getting more into the fun side of things. So make time for play, Aquarius. I'm giving you full permission. This could also be romantic breakthroughs as well. So of course that could mean with a loved one and, new romance coming in for you, as well as your own self-love, taking time to take care of yourself and to nurture yourself. So seek out joy and happiness during these next 8 years. Find the time to do that, Aquarius.
Pisces, suns, moons, and risings. Well, we finally come to you, Pisces. You're so patient. This transit will affect your fourth house of karmic roots, heritage, foundations, and environment. So this transit could indicate a sudden change in your home. That could show up like wanting to move to a new location, or maybe an unexpected development with your home itself. Are you going to renovate? Are you going to do some changes there? Or even a family member might move in with you or move out. There could be all these possibilities when it comes to the fourth house. So again, home improvement projects, even gardening, not just the house, but your entire living space. I want you to think of it that way. And if you run a business from your home, you could experience great success, especially if you're embracing the innovative ideas and these unconventional ways that are going to be coming about over these next 8 years. So if you're attracted to metaphysics, for example, and would like to have a Reiki practice out of your home, that might be quite successful, just for an example. So there may be a need for more mental and intellectual freedom for Pisces. You're so ruled by your emotional and intuitive Neptune, but during this kind of onslaught of Mercury energy, you may shift more into your head than maybe you normally do. So you may think even more critically towards your existing beliefs or those close to you. Their beliefs may bother you more than before. And then maybe exploring new perspectives, maybe like going, okay, well, do I need to change how I'm thinking towards this uh, so that I can meet this other person on a more balanced level? That would be an example. Um, could be just unexpected changes coming up. This is again for all the signs, but through our communications, relationships, and how we're viewing the world. So these are some questions that were posed here when I looked at this. What are your karmic patterns associated, especially with your ancestors? So what has been handed down in your family, especially from your mother's side, because the fourth house has to do with mother. And then basically, how was your relationship with her? That's important. Um, how you feel about your home. Do you take your home with you? Meaning, are you home inside yourself? Do you feel that connection? Or are you seeking it out here all the time? You need others to provide that for you. So that's something to look at. Um, and then it just came in, was I finished writing this, I feel your sister sign Cancer, it would be good to go back and pull that up in the timestamps and listen to what I shared about Cancer, because I think Cancer rules the fourth house. And then we're going to have for this next year Jupiter ruling Cancer. So this is going to affect not just Cancer, but also Pisces very similarly. So I would suggest looking at that. And I think that will help you get a broader perspective of what's going to be happening. But that's it.
All right. Well, thank you all for tuning in to this podcast. We so look forward to all these beautiful summer energies that are playing out here. And thank you if you have stuck around this long. Please do subscribe to me and Caitlin's channels. I'm at Starry Sky Readings. Caitlin's at Bhakti Galactic Healing, if we didn't say in the beginning. Please do show your support there on our channels, and we will see you in our next video.
Namaste.